National Geographic. They're nomadic, which means they herd animals and they live off the land. But anyway, so my friend, he invited me back to stay with his tribe, and I lived in his village for about a week and a half. And this story was given to me on the last day by the Mzee of the tribe, who was like the oldest, wisest guy in their village. So this is my take on it. Hopefully I don't slaughter it. So, a long time ago, there was this chief of the tribe. His name was Lushoto, okay? And Mzee Lushoto, he had 3 sons. And one day he called his 3 sons into his room and he said, "My sons, I'm getting old. It's my time to retire. So someone is going to have to take my position as leader of the tribe." And so he said, "However, to determine that, the person who brings back the most valuable gift to me will become the leader of the tribe." So the 3 sons, they went out on their way. The first son, the oldest, he decided, okay, I got the perfect plan. He went across the savannah for several days, running as fast as he can, living off very little food, only the animals that he was able to find and hunt. And he came across a lake, also known as Lake Victoria nowadays. But anyways, he says, all right, I know where to go. So he jumps into the water, dives down as deep as he can, keeps on going until he reaches the bottom. And he looks around, he scours the sand, and until he finds a clam. Largest clam, about the size of Mr. Muhammad's head over here. Where's Muhammad? It's about the size of your head. And so what he does is, he says his lungs are burning at this point. He's about to just suffocate and drown, but he rips open the clam's mouth, grabs a gigantic pearl, and begins to swim back up just in time to get some oxygen. So he returns back after about a week or so of this adventure, and he goes in to Chief Lushoto's room and he brings the pearl and he says, "Father, I brought you this pearl. I dug it out of the deepest depths of Lake Victoria." And Chief Lushoto looks at him and he says, "Asante," which in Swahili means thank you. You may go. So the oldest son leaves. The second son, he takes a different route. He decides to go up instead of down. So he begins to climb the tallest peak that is seen from the village. And some of you guys might know that. It's called Mount Kilimanjaro. So he begins to climb it. If you guys don't really know about that mountain, it's got about 4 different types of terrain. So he started off in the savannah, working his way up day by day until he got up to a tropical rainforest, think like the Amazon. And he stayed there for a while. It was the middle of rainy season, so it was raining, drenched in, just could not get any sleep whatsoever. But he still ventured on, climbed up a gigantic glacier with just the tools he had in his back, and climbed up the volcanic rock till he got up to the top. And once he reached near the peak, he began to dig. And he dug until he found a tiny gem. Now this gem's only found in the region of the Sahara and near Mount Kilimanjaro. It's called tanzanite. You can Google it. It's real. Anyways, he finds this gem. And he brings it back to his father and he says, "Father, I brought you this gem. I brought you this tanzanite." And Chief Lushoto, again, he looks at him and he says, "Asante, you may go." The third son, the youngest, he didn't know what to do. He sat there and he said, I don't know where to go. I have nothing to bring you. And after 2 days of just sitting there thinking about what he could possibly bring to beat his brother's gifts, he had no clue. Defeated, he walks into his father and he says, "Father, I have not brought you any gifts. All I can bring you is what I have in my mind." He says, "I remember all the times when I was growing up where you were there for me. I remember when you taught me how to hunt. I remember when I had a problem and I could come to you and you'd help me solve it. I'm sorry I let you down." And Chief Lushoto looked up at him and said, "Asante, you may go." The next day, he brought all 3 boys into his room and said, "I've made my decision. My first 2 sons, the son that's brought me the pearl, and my son who's brought me the beautiful gem. These are fantastic gifts. Thank you very much. But they could be stolen, and then I would lose all recollection of this gift, and I would not be able to appreciate it anymore." And he looked at his youngest son and he said, "My youngest, you have brought me a gift, even though you don't think you have. You brought me the gifts of memories, and those will last an eternity."
Very beautiful.
The chief then looked up at his son and said, "You are the new chief."
It's a very beautiful story. I saw that coming. I saw the memories. Yeah. It's a very beautiful story.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Danny.